Hello friend, welcome back. We are out in the grow room and I've got a fun project we're going to do today. Today we are going to plant some wheat. These are wheat berries or wheat seeds. I just went down into my pantry and grabbed some wheat berries and we're going to plant these, and I'm going to plant one entire bed and we're going to see how much we're going to be able to harvest. It could be a total flop, it could be a total waste of time, or it could just be a really fun experiment. Time will tell. These are just soft white wheat berries that I had in my pantry, and we're gonna plant these out. Now, this was not my original idea. I have seen 3 gardeners do this. Garden Answers and Epic Gardening, they both have grown wheat themselves, which I thought was pretty cool. And then Rachel from That 1870 Homestead this year is doing it, and I thought, hey, I think I want to give it a try too. So we're gonna get this in the ground today. I also want to plant out quite a few more seeds, just direct sowing. It's definitely time I can plant everything out in the garden. I did actually start a few more starts. I want to get these starts in the ground. I had planted some zucchini starts in the ground. They completely died. I direct sowed them, and I've always had a hard time direct sowing pumpkins and zucchini. I think animals eat the seed. I can show you. I dug up the seed because it had been a week and a half. They didn't germinate, and all I could find was the hole of the seed. So the seed was eaten out of the hole. So either a mouse or a bird or something got to it. So the other day I came in here, 3rd time's the charm. We're gonna get some zucchini in the ground that oh no. Both of these are zucchinis, but I did not label them. Shoot, it's okay. I know that I want both of these types of zucchini, so it doesn't really matter. Once they start growing, I will know which is which, because I started for the 3rd time my white zucchini and some black beauty zucchini. So once these were my labels here, but I didn't transfer them onto the grow light shelf. They just germinated yesterday, so I'm gonna get them into the ground. I also started some cantaloupe that are just starting to germinate here, and some more flat white pumpkins that are just starting to germinate here. So I'm gonna try to keep those with those tags. Another big goal is to get this room cleaned today and organized. I want this whole grow room basically put to bed for the season. I've started cleaning it, but it needs to be organized. All these drawers are a disaster. They need to be organized. I did get all of my trays scrubbed and washed and stacked. That is a huge accomplishment. So when I start all my starts next year, that project can already be done. So I've got also these flowers that need to go out. We had 1 pepper plant die, and then I need to harvest some of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this now. These are my sweet potato slips. 1. Let's see if I can get that out of there. Oh, this one already has a good amount of roots on it, so that's good. 2, 3, 4. I think I'm gonna go ahead and harvest that one. 5. Let these ones continue to grow. I'm gonna get these in some water. I need to get this in the ground too. I bought this the other day. It is a tomato plant. I need to get that in the ground. It has rained for the past week, non-stop torrential downpour. And that is why I have not planted my wheat yet. I could have done this probably a week ago, but it was too wet out here. So today is the perfect day to do it. It's not supposed to rain. So I did do a couple things since last time you were out here with me. I said I was gonna do them last time we were out here, but I actually did do them. I got the zinnias planted in the areas where the zinnias died. And this is the first time I've been out here in a while, and these actually might be baby zinnia starts. I'm not sure, but I think they are. Let's see down here. I don't see anything down here other than, that's new, that's a volunteer sunflower. So that's encouraging to see. So right here is where I'm gonna be planting the wheat this year. This bed right here. I have direct sowed on this end loofahs. I don't see any that have germinated here, but when I was looking over here the other day, I saw one loofah that is germinated over here. So I don't know, I might plant something else on this arch right here so that we can have something growing on the arch, but this bed is going to be our wheat bed. I'm gonna smooth the top of this bed out first before I plant. The irrigation needs to be kind of worked out as well. I think I've thought through how I wanna do this. I wanna add some more compost to this bed. So what I wanna do first is kind of work this soil a little bit and kind of level it out, because it's got some hills and valleys due to me dumping some different potting mix in here and some of the starts that died. I'm just letting those compost in place. So I'm just gonna flatten this bed out. Apparently, wheat likes a more compacted soil. This soil is extremely light and fluffy because I've been putting some potting mix on the top. Normally, I would never step in my beds, but I do want to compact it a little bit. That felt a little weird to do, but I did it. I also needed to make a little room because I'm going to top dress this once I plant this seed. I watched Rachel's video on how she planted hers, and what she said is to plant 25 seeds per square foot. And I'm not going to count that out. I'm just going to sow like this. So I'm sowing this pretty heavily. I'm assuming birds are gonna wanna come eat this, and some aren't gonna germinate. So I think that, I don't know, it would be better to sow a little heavier, but we're just gonna go with that because that's what I just did. I'm just gonna loosely kind of mix this in with the soil. I am gonna cover this. The seed does like to be covered, according to the video I watched, with about an inch of soil. So I'm gonna go grab some compost here and I'm gonna cover this with that. But I could not find my wheelbarrow this morning, so that's what I need to do next, is go find my wheelbarrow. You know what? Well, that's probably enough seed. have some raised bed mix here that I'm going to use to top dress this wheat. I grabbed 4 bags. I don't know how many bags it's gonna take. One. I have a feeling birds are gonna enjoy this, so I wanna try to protect it from the birds. I do feed the birds. I have bird feeders, so I want them to eat that seed, not this seed. That felt intimidating to do that. That was extremely easy. Now, is it going to be easy to get it to grow without the birds eating it? Is it going to be easy to harvest it? And am I going to get the exact amount of wheat berries that I planted? That is, I guess, the name of the game. But that's where gardening can just be for fun. I planted almost a quart of wheat berries. Let's see if we can harvest more than a quart of wheat berries. And if we can't, we had fun trying. So there we go. This bed is planted. I'm gonna water this in. It actually might rain actually today, so I'm gonna wait just a little bit because now we're gonna plant something. Well, I think we're gonna plant something. So let's bring this over here because this is the bed where I want my zucchinis in. Now I had put in here, you can see where I kind of dug up. There's a hole here and a hole here because that's where I planted my white zucchini. And here is one of the seeds and there's nothing in it. So I want at least 2 zucchini plants here, one here and one here. And then I planted these zucchini plants that were gonna go down here. This is gonna be a green zucchini. And I just noticed that one is germinating. So here's where I dug up the seed. Here is the seed. Oh, that looks like there was a root that was about to grow. All right, so maybe we were gonna get, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stick this here and this here because these are growing and they need to get used to being outside for a little bit. So I'm just going to wait, and in the next couple days, I'll see if one more germinates over here. Maybe I should move that. And if nothing does, then I'll plant those. And I'm just gonna leave those there. They can grow in their pots for a little bit and they'll be just fine. So now what I wanna do is I can get this checked off the list. Let's get this planted. Along this back bed, I have a ton of tomatoes and I had 2 tomatillos that I planted in the middle here. These were the ones that I started. This one looks fantastic. Right here, you can see all these side shoots that it's shooting off. This one got eaten by a bug right there at its root. So it's still alive, but I don't think it's gonna do anything. So that's why Josh bought me another tomatillo plant. So we're just gonna get this planted right where I had the one that I started. I hear people talking a lot about how they don't have green thumbs. Well, no one's born with a green thumb. We have to learn the skill of gardening. And even if you've been doing it a long time, this is my 4th year, there's still mistakes that are gonna be made and trials and weather conditions and things that are going to make it so that things die. It's okay if things die. It's okay to replant. If I gave up on my zucchinis when I first planted them out and they died, then I wouldn't have zucchini, but I am going on my third attempt to try to have some zucchini. And I think if we just keep trying, we'll have success. And I think that's how it is in anything in life. Just because I had success one year doesn't mean that this year I'm going to have success in growing the same thing. This is a very big tomatillo plant, or root ball, I should say. It was a big pot it was growing in. All right, now we officially have 2 tomatillo plants that hopefully will produce something. Okay, now we're gonna plant something that I have had good success with over the years, and that's some green beans. Now, I'm gonna plant them in a spot where I did not have success. That was with my peanuts. I would love to grow peanuts. That is definitely on my list of things that I wanna grow. But this year was apparently not the year, and I could have maybe replanted the peanuts that died, but I didn't have any peanut seeds. So green beans it is. This is a bed where I have dahlias, and I put my peanuts on each end, and I planted them out way too early. So I planted them technically after my last frost, but it was still getting too cold at night, so a lot of them just died. So what I'm gonna plant here instead of the green beans, instead of the peanuts, is just some tried and true jade green beans. I love jade green beans. They're my favorite green bean out of the ones I have planted. I have grown tons of different varieties. I've grown blue lake bush beans, contender. There's probably 3 or 4 other ones that I've planted, and these are my favorite. I'm just gonna put some seed out here, and I can put about 9 to 12 green bean plants per square foot. I didn't even get out my square foot garden guide. All I'm gonna do is run some trenches in this bed, just like this. I'm gonna try peanuts again next year. I'm gonna try peanuts again next year, but I just know that I'm not gonna plant them out until Mother's Day weekend when I plant out my tomatoes and my peppers. That was my green bean tag. I'm gonna leave this one peanut plant in here, and we'll see what happens with that. I do have right here a little cucumber plant, and I'm gonna let that cucumber grow out this bed. There's one in that corner too. I did that last year, and cucumbers, they did really well that way. I didn't trellis them or anything. Green beans are in the ground. Now I'm gonna do that exact same thing. Well, see over here they don't look as bad. These are my Virginia peanuts over here. I could rip them up or leave them. The problem is I think that they could be stunted. I have no experience growing peanuts. Looks like This cucumber plant got just munched on the top, so we lost another cucumber plant, but that's okay. I have 2 more over there. So let me think about this. I think I'm just gonna plant some green beans around the peanuts. Maybe I should go, maybe they'll be okay. So it took me 6 minutes to decide what to do here. And I think I'm gonna pull these up. Maybe I should leave them in, I don't know. I just know that I can have more probable success with green beans than I can with these sad little peanuts. So we're gonna go with green beans here. And then I had an idea because I think in this bed, randomly, this was my corn bed last year, I have a bunch of calendula flowers coming up. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. And I've got a couple coming up over there, a few back there, a few back there. The reason I think that is 1, it looks like calendula, and 2, when I was pulling a weed down here, I found some calendula seeds on this walkway. Calendula seeds are very distinct. They look almost like dinosaur fossil rib bones or something. That's what I think are like teeth. They're very unique looking. So I was thinking maybe in here I might throw in some calendula seeds between the dahlias just to fill that area in. I don't know. Maybe that's crazy. Maybe I won't do that. There's this trend that's going around on Instagram called chaos gardening, and where you basically just take seeds, throw them into a garden bed. And one of you messaged me and said I should do a bed of chaos gardening when it comes to flowers. So basically just taking a bunch of different flower seeds, mixing them together, or at least this is how I interpreted what would be kind of cool, and just throwing them in a bed like I did the wheat, where I just scatter the seed on the top and then cover it. So I was thinking I can't do that this year with any of the beds that I have left because I just planted out the last bed that doesn't have anything in it. But I could come back through and throw in some calendula seeds. I'm not sure how big those dahlias are gonna get. I think I planted those too early too, and I may have stunted the growth on them a little bit. I planted them after our last frost date, but I think it was getting too cold at night. So they don't look fantastic. I probably should give them some liquid fertilizer. I should probably give most of my things a good dousing of liquid fertilizer. I haven't fertilized or supplemented feed any of the plants yet that I've planted, just the initial when I planted them. I think this will be pretty. We'll have green beans on the edge or both ends of the dahlia bed. And I have had very good luck growing green beans. Every year I've gotten a green bean harvest, I've grown green beans, which I think I'm pretty sure I've had green beans in every one of my gardens. These are a bush bean variety, which means they'll probably only get about 12 to 18 inches tall. And you can get a lot of green beans. So I'm only planting maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe it's 12 square feet of green beans. And honestly, this is probably gonna be a year's worth of green beans for Josh and I. We don't eat a ton of green beans out of season, but in season we do eat a ton, and you can get a lot of green beans in a small space. Okay, green beans are planted. I do have rattlesnake beans planted, which you can eat green, but I'm kind of planning on eating those as a dried bean. So I almost was like, I don't need to plant green beans because I've got all those beans planted and I could just harvest those as green beans. But I love jade green beans. They're tender, they're delicious. It makes for an easy summer dinner. So I kind of wanted to get them in the ground. Okay. So these are planted. These will probably germinate in about a week. If I'd gotten them planted before that crazy rain, that would have been good, but I didn't, so that's okay. That feels good. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed something pretty cool. You can kind of see it if you know what you're looking for here, but let me bring you in close. I have not been out here in probably 5 days, and you can see the black beans are starting to germinate like crazy all throughout this bed. My anemones are just absolutely beautiful. I was able to make a bouquet of anemones and snapdragons as a gift over this last weekend. Someone very special in my life had something very special happen to them, and I got anemones, and you can see the little pink up there. I got a huge bouquet, well, huge for me. It was a humble sized bouquet, but I got a bouquet of snapdragons and anemones from the garden, and I was able to give that to a very special person in my life for something very special that happened to them. And that felt very special to me to be able to harvest it out of my garden. All right, let's go get that grow room cleaned. When we're up there, I'm gonna see what kind of flower seeds I can just throw in this bed to make this bed even more beautiful than hopefully it will be when those dahlias start to bloom. We are back in the grow room, and it is time to tackle some projects. First, I'm going to tackle the sweet potatoes, get those jarred up, cleaned, and then I need to tackle the mess that is this room. What I want to do is do my future self a favor. So last fall, I did most of it by myself, but I showed a few beds of me putting the garden to bed. I removed all the plants from last year's garden in the fall. I put compost, manure, soil amendments down, and then I covered everything with landscape fabric. What that did is it allowed me this year when I went to plant stuff out to just hit the ground running, and I could just plant. So I kind of want to do the same thing with this room, is I want to put the seed room to bed. Now I will be, getting into my seeds and direct sowing stuff throughout the growing season. I might start a fall garden. I haven't decided yet how life is going to go and whether I'm going to do that or not. But what I want to do is not leave this area just kind of messy and depressing. I want it to be fun and exciting to come in here. And one way I can do that a favor to myself is by actually cleaning it and having it be a nice, clean, fun environment to be in. You saw probably how dirty the water was that I had my sweet potato slips in. And so what I did is I just dumped that out. I rinsed these off. I'm gonna get some fresh water in these. I'm not gonna plant these in the garden for probably another 2 weeks. These slips have been a little neglected, but hopefully they will bounce back. Take some of those lower leaves off so those don't just rot in the water. That already looks a lot better. There we go. So I'm putting these on this tray. These are the ones I just plucked off the potatoes today because I'm going to start cleaning up the windowsills. I probably should have had these on a tray this whole time, but I didn't. Now that the sweet potatoes are taken care of, let's take care of this windowsill. And this is not going to be a sweet potato windowsill next year. I have learned my lesson. Let's clean it. I might have to, actually it might clean up nice. I might have to repaint this windowsill. So I'm gonna sweep this room really well. So I think what I'm gonna do, I just got some cleaning supplies, I'm just gonna put all this on the ground, and then we will clean up from there. I don't know what that's from. Let that soak for a second. Oh, there's a wasp in here. All right. There you go. I probably should not save that, but I'm just gonna let that sit there. Got a new rag. From watering, there's a ton of dirt over here, so I'm glad I painted, even though what I painted is gotten dirty, because this was, if you remember, just drywall, and so that would have soaked up the water a lot more. At least a little bit of paint on the walls would help protect the walls from moisture when I was watering. There's always this kind of quiet before the storm when it comes to gardening. There's the busyness of starting seeds indoors. You're taking care of the seedlings inside, and it is kind of a lot of work. And then you get everything planted out, which is a lot of work. And then there's like this, like, breathe, calm. Everything's planted out. Things tend to take care of themselves a little bit better once they're planted out. And so it kind of leaves this like quiet space to focus on other things. And I have been spring cleaning. I have never been into spring cleaning before, but I organized my kitchen the day before I did this and did a deep clean on it. And that motivated me to want to do this deep cleaning day while we've got this kind of quiet before harvest. The windows are both clean. Have any of you seen those videos where people have those mini steamers where they can get in the crevices of things and they're like a little hand steamer? I feel like sometimes when I'm doing projects like this, that would be really nice. So if any of you guys have that steamer and you know what I'm talking about and you like it, let me know. But now that I got the walls cleaned and the windows cleaned, what I want to do is sweep this area because I think this is where the shelves are going to go back. So I just pushed all the shelves this way. So it's looking really disorganized over there, but it always looks worse before it looks better. On this day that we're doing this project, it is Friday, and at this point on this week, I have deep cleaned my pantry, my kitchen, a couple of my kitchen drawers. I organized them, and then today we're doing the seed room, and then over the weekend, I do my car, which I hadn't deep cleaned probably since last summer. I mean, I've cleaned it, but not, scrubbed the depths of the car, if you know what I mean. And so it just felt really good because I know that in a few months, harvest is going to be here and there's going to be no time for deep cleaning. And so I guess this year, spring cleaning is on my list of things that I feel motivated to do. Normally, I tend to do big cleaning projects in the winter, and I feel like I did some, but I don't know. I was busy this winter. We were, having parties and cooking lots of yummy food and starting a bunch of these seedlings. And so this just felt like there was like this gap in time where, most of the garden was planted out. Now, I said that I had the garden planted out at this point, but I go out there all the time and I'll just sprinkle seeds here and there. That's one thing that I have been so enjoying this garden season is not having the landscape fabric, because I go out there all the time and I can just sprinkle seeds wherever I want to and not have to move landscape fabric. And so far during this growing season, I haven't noticed a huge weed problem. I mean, we're so early in the growing season that could become a problem later on. But as of now, I haven't noticed a big problem. I've been able to just stay on top of it. I go out there when it's not raining almost every day, usually when I have my coffee or after a big long work day. Me and my family will go down to the garden and we'll just spend time out there. And so I've said that I have like the bulk of the planting done, but throughout the whole entire growing season, there will be more direct sowing when it comes to like lettuce, radishes, carrots, because I can plant those every 2 to 3 weeks and other types of things so that I can have a continual harvest of that. Cilantro, I just planted a ton more cilantro, and so I can have a hopefully a continual harvest of that. Same with lettuce and radishes. So now I've got the shelves all cleaned off. I even kind of dusted off the tops of the grow lights because those got a bunch of dirt on them from watering and just dirt falling on them from having trays on top of them, you know, on the shelf, but there was grow lights in between each shelf. So I was able to get those shelves cleaned, and I've got that area swept under the grow shelves so that I could put the shelves back. And now I'm focusing on the other part of the grow room. So this is just an all-purpose granulated fertilizer, and I used up all my blood meal. So I'm just using that same bucket, and I went ahead and I filled this one up with this granular fertilizer, and then I can use that as I need it. And a lot of this is just picking up and throwing away things, putting things away. I even wiped down these box fans a little bit because they were pretty dirty. I'm trying to work from top to bottom and not only organize this room, but I want to deep clean everything as well, just so that, because everything kind of has a layer of dirt on it. So right now I'm just removing all of the actual dirt from my workbench here. And I'm going to give those heat mats a good scrub as well today. We make great progress. We're almost there, but before I actually like clean this counter, I want to get all of these seeds organized. I have a huge pile here, and I want to get all the seeds that I've been collecting up here into that pile. I want to get all the containers into the containers, the big containers, so that those can be organized. I did not really do an inventory on my seeds last year before I ordered my seeds. And I definitely need to do that this year because I know that I have too many of certain varieties, and I know that I used up a bunch of varieties that I didn't purchase seed from last year. So I'm not gonna do that today or tomorrow or probably anytime during this growing season, but I wanna do it probably this coming winter. And some of these I know I can just put away because, let's see, this is my warm weather one. So I have a warm weather one, a cold weather one, a flowers, and a direct sow one. I think the way I want to organize these in the future, and maybe that will be a winter project, is actually organize them based on starting indoors and when they need to start. But I know that I don't need my tomatoes, my tomatillos, or my peppers until next year. So I'm gonna get those put away. My snapdragon seeds can get put away, which is this container. Just some of them that I'm not gonna need. I don't think I'm gonna start as many seeds indoors next year. I don't think. I say that now, but come January, February, when the garden season has been done for a very long time, I might want to start some seeds. But right now I'm thinking I'm not gonna start quite as many. I wanna be a little bit more focused. I'm still trying to wrap my brain around that, but hot peppers, sweet peppers. Some of these pumpkins and squash and things I might direct sow again. We are on the final kind of push to get this room put together and ready to go for the next growing season. And so I'm just finishing organizing all my seeds. So all my seeds are put away and where they need to go. I still, like I said, I'll be pulling from these to direct sow, but as of now, unless I start a fall garden indoors in like July, I won't need to touch the majority of those seeds until next year, which is crazy. I can't believe we're already at this point.
So again, I'm trying to not only organize, but I also want to deep clean. I did paint this shelf, which makes it a lot easier to go ahead and wipe it down because there is dirt on it. So I'm going to get this clean before I end up putting my seed organizers back on the shelf. So I'm going to talk a little bit right before we end today about what I mean by starting less things indoors. I don't mean I'm going to start less quantity. I might even start more quantity, but I want to be a little bit more focused on what I start indoors and focus on what I'm good at and what I've had relatively good success with. I'm going to show you some things that I tried starting indoors, and I've tried starting indoors quite a few times and had either pretty poor or a dismal result. So I'll go into that a little bit more, but for now, we're just going to get these heat mats nice and scrubbed. I can't say it enough that having the garden ready for me to go ahead and plant into was a huge gift to myself. I have so enjoyed just being able to hit the ground running. I mean, there were a couple beds that I did need to add some compost to that I didn't do last year because I had some fall crops in them. But for the majority, I think out of the 20 beds, I had 17 or 18 that I could just hit the ground running. And that was so incredibly nice and something that I just so enjoyed that I'm trying to do that same thing when it comes to this room. That when we come out here to start some things indoors, the room will be ready for us.
We accomplished the goal we set out to. This area feels fantastic. It's clean. The only things I have in here, the sweet potatoes, slips, and a couple melons. But for the most part, everything is out of here, which means a lot less work on my part. Once things are in the garden, they take care of themselves a little bit better. We've got all the seeds organized. I emptied the seed starting mix because I don't want to keep that in here I just figured I'd go empty it where the wheat is planted. We've got our vinegar for killing weeds, all of our seeds organized, all the seed starting equipment, trays and all those types of things are put where they need to be. I do have a couple more flowers over here that are hardening off. We have Rebecca here. We have some of our white and pink echinacea or cone flower. I have some different random flowers. I still need to get that tomato in the ground and a little bit more of cone flower and Rebecca here. These never did very well. Perennial flowers are something that I don't think I'm going to be trying to grow myself because for a few dollars, I still need to plant those ones. I can pick up a perennial flower. These starts right here, I think were $2.99 or I think around $3. And they should last for years and years to come. And they're very difficult and very time consuming to start indoors. So when I was telling you earlier that I don't think I'm gonna start as many things indoors as I have this year, is I'm gonna focus on the things that I know that I've been able to be successful at. I could keep practicing and practicing, but I don't know if I have it in me next year to do that. So I know I will probably always be starting my tomatoes and peppers. I think probably snapdragons, even though you have to start those indoors for so long. I want so many of them. I think I have like 200 or 300 plants in the garden. That would be a lot to have to purchase, way more than I would want to purchase. So these perennials, because they're gonna last year after year, I don't mind spending $3 on them because I'll enjoy them for years to come. Versus my snapdragons, I enjoy them 1 year. A seed packet for 200 seeds is $3. So anyway, I have a lot more thinking I'm gonna do on that over winter, but we got things direct sowed. I'm excited to see what the wheat is gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and just turn the irrigation on and let the sprinkler system go ahead and get those seeds watered in for me. I am happy that we have set out our goal to clean this room and we accomplished it. It feels so good in here and we'll be able to start seeds next year. Now what I need to do now is go get cleaned up and I've got some computer work I need to get done before the weekend begins and I can enjoy the weekend. So friend, thank you so much for being here. If you want to watch a couple of my other videos, I'll pop them here. You can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I hope you're having a fantastic day and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye friend.